Hello everyone and welcome back, Dace here. When you think about specific themes appearing in STGs, which ones come to mind? Do you have a favorite or one you feel is unlike any other you've seen before? When countless arcade shooters take place in deep space or futuristic environments, games that offer a much less common experience give off a glint, signaling us to their unique and obvious qualities that have them standing out from the rest. It's not that I ever tire of outer space action, but it's always nice dipping into an atmosphere that's out of the ordinary. I remember diving into Darius Gaiden for the first time and being blown away by the aquatic theme since it was unlike anything I had played before. So today we're going to be checking out 5 Switch STGs I feel are simply gushing with theme and a few honorable mentions at the end. I'm not going to be covering all of the ins and outs like mechanics, plotline, details, etc. This is purely about theme. With all that out of the way, let's get into this. Despite Asian mythology seeping into quite a few STGs and bullet hells, Shikhondo is the one that nails the look and feel perfectly. Some enemies and especially the bosses creep into my mind every so often, even when I haven't played in ages. The game certainly leaves a mark and is a prime example of a masterfully crafted theme. But it's not just the disturbing enemies and bosses that make Shikhondo what it is. The backgrounds are super enchanting and set the best possible stage for the eerie and grotesque events players will behold. Some levels give off a warm golden glow that feels inviting, while others express the cool air of early evening with lamplight here and there. There's a foreboding feeling that comes with knowing the daylight will soon fade. One level even feels like late summer or fall, with the smell of leaves almost oozing from the screen. The art in Shikhondo is stunning, and these charming settings give off both a sense of wonder and uneasiness as you're led along to corrupt places where horrors beyond any typical nightmare lie in wait. It's almost as though these beautiful locations and vile bosses work in tandem to lure you further and further, and there's something incredibly insidious about it all. If you've ever wanted a classic shooting game to pull you into a colorful and vibrant storybook-like world with whimsical charm, look no further than SHMUP Fighter. This STG dishes out a super thick serving of theme with extreme levels of nonsensical playfulness in its super creative and fun setting. SHMUP Fighter takes me places I've never been before, and everything you can possibly look at in the game has a magnetic quality. With one glance, you know it's inviting you to play in a never-ending land of amusement and chaos where you'll have the best time ever. I still remember my first night playing it and how completely astonished I was that it had taken me so long to purchase, and yet the portal remained open, patiently waiting. Words alone won't do justice to the bursting radiance SHMUP Fighter has on the table. This classic work of brilliance needs to be experienced firsthand to grasp what makes it such a gem. When a pre-Columbian era collides with the future, you get Powerumi, and the way this game unleashes its theme is crushingly solid. While the designs for enemies, bosses, characters, and architecture certainly nailed the look and feel they were going for, the visuals are only part of the equation. What pushes the theme even further is Powerumi's metal soundtrack. It's not just any metal soundtrack though, but one that's sacrificially bleeding more theme than I know what to do with, and each stage's composition perfectly conveys the mood on its own. On top of that, some of the events players experience during the run also contribute to the exotic theme. Some examples are the giant lock, pyramid battle, dune worm, and massive boulder that rolls behind you. Even the boss fight with the magical cauldrons genuinely feels like you're trapped in this ancient cursed chamber brimming with countless tortured souls from ages forgotten. The entire trek through Powerumi is perfectly delivered and has me wondering if we'll eventually have a return to this universe in a future release. When I played In the Hunt for the first time, my mind was dissolved by the art style's unmitigated depth, and I continue to be stunned every time I see screenshots of the game or boot it up for a session. This aquatic arcade shooter captures the feeling of precarious submarine navigation through tight areas and deadly yet wondrous settings of a post-apocalyptic Earth. In the Hunt plunges you into an ocean's worth of challenge and intrigue that is one of the richest and most pure themes I have ever encountered. With the sheer level of detail in everything from the backgrounds, foregrounds, enemy sprites, and environmental animations, you can't help but feel immersed in the journey, with pressure building the deeper you dive and the further you delve into enemy territory. Every time I play, I can literally feel the vastness of the ocean water when looking far off into the distance. My imagination explodes when I see things like sunken ships, massive underwater craters, or ruined buildings from ages before. There are a billion intentionally placed details to zero in on and appreciate. If I had a room with walls painted to look like the stages, I'd lose myself staring at them for days on end. That's how rich this is. In the Hunt is mind-numbingly gorgeous, with each stage showcasing visual mastery in its own way. If I'm going to be completely honest, this game deserves its own video just so I can gush about each stage individually for an hour or two. In terms of submarine-themed arcade shooters, nothing else even comes close to touching this one. If you don't already know Jamestown Plus, then there's only so much I can say to express how incredible its theme is. JT Plus takes place on British colonial Mars during the 17th century, and everything has this wicked mechanical steam aesthetic few games can match. The setting alone is epic, but the art style, storytelling between levels, the world map, and literally everything in between will have you feeling like you're on the cusp of some grand frontier adventure. The orchestral soundtrack is by far a masterpiece and only adds to the game's overwhelming theme. The music that plays during a game over is easily my favorite, and I sometimes sit and listen for a while before continuing. Jamestown Plus possesses an enchanting quality that actually has me invested in the story and characters, which is a rare thing for shmups. Honestly, there's nothing quite like this game and the experience it provides, so if you haven't checked this one out, please do. Lastly, we have the honorable mentions. While these games have fantastic themes, they don't grip me as firmly, and I don't feel nearly as immersed compared to the 5 we went over, but I still want to mention them because they do stand out quite a bit amongst other shooters. While the Vasara games are some of my absolute favorites, the feudal Japan era has been done plenty of times. One thing Vasara has going for it though is the samurai mentality. A heavily melee aggressive yet calculating approach is necessary, and most of the time you're not even going to fire shots. This fascinating setup creates situations where every little choice needs to be weighed carefully, but within a fraction of a second. It's almost as if you're crossing blades with a foe and gauging the best possible time to strike, defend, or give yourself distance. I've never seen another game evoke this sort of feeling in me. It couldn't get much better than Jurassic Park meets STG, and that's essentially what we have in the Prehistoric Isle games. I feel like there's such huge potential for further exploring the dinosaur direction, but if that never happens, we at least have these two gems. As mentioned at the start, the aquatic theme spanning the Darius series is super cool, with loads of creativity thrown into the mix. It's such a highlight seeing bosses all inspired by sea creatures, and my absolute favorite is Titanic Lance. Blackbird's theme is extremely unique and also very unusual. In ways, it reminds me of watching special features when shows were experimenting with an arts and crafts approach, whether it be claymation, fabric cutouts, and everything else. When thinking about all of the incredible themes out there and future themes yet to be awakened, I'm filled with a great sense of enthusiasm and I'm stoked to discover more. Theme can be an extraordinarily powerful mixture of ingredients that, when harnessed correctly, moves the player and stirs the imagination to no end. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this video. In the comments below, let me know what some of your favorite themed shmups are and why they stand out for you. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to fling a like our way and subscribe to keep your days STG infused. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.